verse 27 says, "First let the children eat all they want." He told her, "For it is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to their dogs." All right, first of all, who are the children? The children in this reference are the Jews. And we see this throughout Scripture. It talks about, Jesus came for God's chosen people. It was first to the Jew and then to the Gentile. So he has not, at this point, completed the initial mission of getting this message to the Jews. So he refers to that. First, let the children eat all that they want. And then it says, "For it is not right to take away from the children to give to the dogs." Now, in Jewish culture, anyone that was of pagan cultures were basically recognized and spoke of as dogs. And as the Pharisees and Sadducees, as the leaders spoke of dogs, they were referring and making reference to the lowest of dogs, those that were scavengers, wild dogs that were, would come into the streets and go through the garbage or whatever, and ravage through there for food. But it's interesting how Jesus says, he says, bread and toss it to their dogs. So it's almost like he's not referencing the savage, the wild dog, but he's referencing that domesticated dog, that dog that's part of the family. So it's not as, scathing, I guess, is a word we could use. He's not really attacking this woman. He's not. He still is showing some level of compassion here. So first of all, this message that he's bringing and the things that he's bringing to these different cities is first to the Jew and then to the Gentile. But it's not excluded from the Gentiles. If you go to the book of Acts, first 9 chapters, all about the Jews. Chapter 10, it makes reference to the Gentiles receiving the blessings of Jesus Christ. If you look at Paul in Romans chapter 1 and verse 16, Paul says that the gospel is given first for the Jew, then for the Gentile. So we see this reference being made. Jesus appears to be rebuffing the woman's request, but how we understand that rebuke depends on what follows in the conversation. So in verse 28 it says, "Yes, Lord," she replied, "but even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs." So the woman's response is remarkable in that, one, she accepts all the assumptions of Jesus' statement that the Jews have priority and that she, as a Gentile, is in a secondary position. Thus, she remains submissive to Jesus' authority. But she offers an added perspective on his compassion. While the children are eating at the table, the dogs are free to gobble up any of the crumbs that fall to the ground. So this woman recognizes that she's indeed in the position of the dogs in Jesus' comparison, but and she's second in line behind children. She can still hope to receive relief right away, not just later, as is kind of implying here. And this, to me, was a test. Jesus was testing this woman's faith to see where she would fall. Was she really, truly seeking Jesus Christ? Did she really, truly recognize Him as the only way by which her prayer, her desire would be answered? And that is the healing of her daughter. So I think we see this as part of a test for this lady. Now, when we look at it, we go back to some of the things I said at the beginning about the church. Do we, as many of the Jews were doing at this time, as even Jesus' disciples were doing, that sometimes we start to judge somebody simply by the way they look, what side of the street they're on, what community they grew up in, who their parents were, all these different things that we look at. And it says Jesus cared enough about her to test her faith with a shocking comparison, but we value do we value others as Jesus did? Or is their location more important to us? Interesting question, and it's something interesting to think about as we go through our day, and as we look at how we respond to new people that come into the church, that are seeking, that are looking, that are wanting questions answered, and are trying to find the right place, and to find who this Jesus really is. What do they see when they look at us? What example do we leave for them? Now, in verse 29, then he told her, for such a reply you may go. The demon has left your daughter. Jesus' answer affirms her faith. She expresses the kind of trust to which Jesus will consistently respond to. Those who believe they have all they need and are not ready to receive what Jesus has to offer. You know, we live in a time where we're all supposed to be so self-sufficient, when it's all about me. We have it all. You know, in this country we've been blessed with so much that, you know, it gives us warning in the Bible. Be careful. When you think you have it all, you start to turn away from God. You start to turn away from feeling like you need God, because you've got it all. But all the things of this world will never fulfill or fill the void that's in our heart. As we see people running to and fro in order to try and fill that next need, the next big house, the next new car, whatever it may be, we know that they have turned away from God and are seeking to fill the void that's in their heart, the things that are material. So he challenges people with difficult sayings and proposals for any who think that their position, they have a special claim on God's blessing. It says this exchange offers the opposite conclusion. Jesus is saying that he comes for those who know that they are weak and lost, who recognize that they have nowhere else to turn. And this is the truth that needs to be heard by those who believe themselves to be so far from God as to be beyond his mercy. It also needs to be heard by those who have been in the church so long that they have forgotten that they are sinners who stand by God's grace, not their own goodness. A message to us especially in the church right now, is we have a world that's hurting. We have people that are looking for answers. They're having so much difficulty in the things of this world. The things that they had placed their faith in have crumbled around them. People that felt secure in their 401, that felt secure in their executive position in their company, that felt secure because they'd been with the company 25 years, all of a sudden find themselves wondering, where did it all go? Where did that security go? It disappeared. And, you know, it's a warning for us in the church that, you know, we've been sitting back in those pews thinking, you know, we've been doing this so long, we forgot who we were when we first came into the church. We are sinners still, but we are saved by his grace. Don't allow our actions, our words, to keep people from having that same blessing of his grace, because they see us as something pious, something that they can't belong, they don't qualify to come into our church. Don't allow our comfort and our forgetfulness of who we are to get in the way of people finding the hope that they're only going to find in Jesus Christ.